Hey guys, Mr. Turner here, another math video. So again, the last week we've been doing the Pythagorean theorem, and you're coming up to semester tests, so let's definitely do some more practice on this. The Pythagorean theorem is a theorem that gives us the sides of a right triangle. This only works on a right triangle, and it's a good way to find out if something is square or if something is a right triangle. So we're going to start off here and understanding on what exactly the Pythagorean theorem is and how we find it. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, that is, we'll get the right thing here. It's going a little crazy. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. That is the Pythagorean theorem. And some things we need to know. This is a right triangle, and we know that by the little sign in the bottom there, the little square that tells us that that's a 90-degree angle. So that's how we know it's a right triangle if they give us that. Now, other than that, we have to do the calculations and use the Pythagorean theorem to find out. But part of a right triangle is the A, B, and C. Now, A and B, those are known as the legs. Okay, and again, usually the shortest leg is A and the next longest is B, but in your equations, it doesn't matter. You can still get it right either way. What's most important is knowing C. Now, C is known as the hypotenuse. Okay, so C is the hypotenuse, and that's pretty important to know. C is always the longest leg, the longest side, and it is across from the 90-degree marker. Okay, so A and B are the legs, and C is the hypotenuse. It's very important to know where those go. Also, one thing to know, you can go very quick on some of these if you know your Pythagorean triples. Okay, and we talked about this. The most famous one, I guess, is 3, 4, and 5. So as you can see in this triangle, we have a leg of 3, we have a leg of 4, and we have a hypotenuse of 5. If that is the case, that is always a 90-degree angle. That's a perfect triple. That is a 90-degree, that is a right triangle. Also, 5, 12, and 13, that's another one. So if you have something on your test, or you have something that shows 3, 4, 5, or 5, 12, 13, you really don't have to do much. You know that that's a right triangle, and you can say yes it is, because you know your Pythagorean triples. Okay, but if not, let's find out how we can do this. Let's do a couple of problems here. So in this right triangle, we have a leg, which we'll call A, of 12, and we have a leg, which we'll call B, of 23, and C, we do not know. And again, when you're doing these, write out the triangle, label A, B, and C, and then just plug them into your equation. So A equals 12, so we'll put down, whoopsie, I'm getting notifications as we go. We will put down 12, and again it's squared, plus B, 23 squared, equals C squared. Okay, 12 squared we know is 144. 23 squared, we will find out through your calculator, is 529, which equals C squared. Okay, so if I add these two together, I get 13, I get 13, 7, and 673 equals C squared. Okay, now I'm not done yet. I have to get rid of this C squared, so I do the opposite, which is square root, and I square root this, and I should get 25.942. So C equals 25.942. So we know this hypotenuse of this triangle is 25.942. And it does make sense too. This is the longest side. It's 25.942. And this is 23 and this is 12. C is my longest. That makes sense. So we'll say good job and move on to the next one. Now this one, I know I have a leg A of 10. I have a leg B that I don't know. I got to find that out. And I have a hypotenuse C, which is 24. So let's do A is 10 squared plus b squared, which we don't know what it is, and then c, which is our hypotenuse, is 24 squared. 10 squared we know is 100, plus b squared equals, let's see, 24 squared is 576. Okay, so now we will subtract 100 from this side, and if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other, and I will get 476 here equals b squared. Now, I'll just even do this in a different color. Now, to find b, we have to do the square root, because the opposite of a square is the square root. And the square root of 476 will give us b equals, let's see, 21.817. Now, does that make sense? This is about 21.817. So yeah, 24 is still the longest, a is the shortest, and b is right in the middle. That makes total sense. All right, we did good. Let's try it again one more time. Here we have a, we have b, and we have c. A, we don't know what it is, so that's a squared plus b, which is 11, so we'll do 11 squared, equals c, which is 12, and we will square that as well. We can't do anything with the a just yet, so a squared plus 121 equals 144. Now I have to subtract 121 from this side, and if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other, and that's going to give me, I'll bring down my a squared, equals, let's see, that's 3, 2, that equals 23. So now, to finish this equation, I have to get rid of my squared, and the opposite of square is the square root, so I will square root this as well, and that gives me a equals 4.796. Okay, and let's put that over here, 4.796. Well, here's my longest side, the hypotenuse, that works. B is the next longest, that's 11, and A is smaller than those, so hey, that kind of checks out. That's probably correct. And that also tells me that this is a right triangle. Okay, guys, as always, make sure and get your homework done, turn it in on time, and make sure and study for the semester test. Good luck.